When I arrived at her house, Tatiana leaned over and kissed me on the cheek. "Hang in there, Dale." "You too, Tatiana. Thanks for a fun weekend." A smile broke through the tears. "You are the one I will always remember." My trip home was sad. My emotions filled the entire board. Kill her, hug her, leave her, forgive her, and finally ask, why? Sleep did not come easily. In the morning, I completed all the necessary procedures. After grabbing some food, I went into my office. Having explained my weekend, I got today and tomorrow off. I am back. I rummaged through Jeanette's clothes and pulled out some sweatpants and matching underwear. Then I was overcome with rage. Damn bitch. I went looking again. Last Halloween she wore a stripper costume. I found it and a lace thong. This is what you need. Since her drawers were open, I decided to move her things into the office bedroom. She can figure out how to move things around to make a sleeper sofa. Back in our bedroom, I collected the obvious feminine toiletries, filled the trash can with them, and then placed the trash can with her clothes. It took me a while to work up the courage to enter Jeanette's room. Her parents and sister fawned over her. Jeanette's eyes were red and swollen. After hugging and kissing my relatives, I stared at Jeanette, mourning. The desire to strangle her to death gave way to a tender embrace. "Is this all I get?" I simply nodded. Yes. She knew that I knew. His lower lip trembled. "Will you be released today?" I think yes. I responded well to the IVs and blankets. No matter how disgusting their food tastes, I can't get enough of it. Jeanette felt awkward. She couldn't look me in the eyes. "I'll go have some coffee. Can I bring someone else anything?" "I'll go with you, son," said Jeanette's father, Fred. As soon as we were in the cafeteria, he looked into my eyes. "What's going on, Dale? I thought you both must be in love with each other after the ordeal you went through." "Fred, I just want to confirm that our house is not so rosy. I'll let Jeanette tell you her side." "Sounds bad." "This is true. I do not know what to do." We brought a tray full of coffee cups and donuts into the room. Jeanette wiped away her tears. After the tray was eaten, Fred gathered his group and left. Before Jeanette and I could talk, her doctor came in and told her to get ready, as she was ready to go home. Jeanette took the bag of clothes I brought and went to the bathroom. It didn't take long. "Do you want me to wear this?" "You act like a slut, dress like a slut." I thought we agreed not to have sex until Monday. Of course, we also made several vows that were crushed by the avalanche. Her face scrunched up, and she collapsed into the bathroom. She cried for about 30 minutes. Jeanette wore this costume when she came out. Cher cracked in a voice. "Are you happy now?" "Not even close. Let's go." A nurse arrived with a wheelchair. Her face showed genuine amazement. I got out to drive the car to the entrance. Everyone stared at Jeanette as she climbed out of the wheelchair and headed towards the passenger door. I didn't bother going out to help her. The ride continued in silence for about 5 minutes. "We thought about my life, Dale." "We too, but we didn't ruin life." This brought tears again. Silence again. "What will happen now?" "Your things are in the office." The rest of the way she just sobbed quietly. When we arrived at the house, she gathered her courage and muttered, "I feel bad." Me too. My car was totaled, and I began the process of getting my insurance company involved. I took my temporary car. On the way home, I realized that being around Jeanette right now is not what I like. I sent her a message. "Don't wait. I'm not home." Her response was quick. "Please come home, Dale. We can't solve anything if we don't talk." Too early. I spent the evening at a sports bar watching College A basketball and NHL hockey. It seems that deceived husbands must publish definite smells. A few hours later, the waitress asked me if I was coping with my wife's infidelity. She warned me that I couldn't drink away my problems. Yes, I agreed. Jeanette was waiting for me when I stumbled in around 1:30 a.m. "I was worried about you." My indistinct answer was something like, "But I'm not." Pushing away her attempts to hug and kiss me, I closed the bedroom door and dived into the middle of the bed. In the morning, Jeanette left a note saying that she was at work and that she loved me. I couldn't hang around the house because there were too many good memories that only fueled my rage. I showed up around noon and worked until 9. Are you coming home today? The supper is ready. Too early. Stopping for something to eat, I rolled in around 10 p.m. I had to work again in the morning and couldn't afford a hangover. Jeanette was curled up on the couch in her sweatpants. For the first time since Monday, her eyes weren't red and puffy. We need to talk. Please don't fence yourself off from me. What is there to talk about? You thought you were going to die, so you tried to fuck each other to death. You do not understand. What don't I understand? Tatiana and I talked for a long time about death. Our communication was verbal, not sexual. We had the same problems as you. Are we really? Let's freeze to death? Will we die of hunger? Will they find our skeletons in the spring when the snow melts? However, unlike you, we wondered if each of you survived. How were your concerns different? Tears appeared again. They weren't there. We were talking about you guys. And then you decided that we were most likely dead. Let's have sex. Dale. No, it wasn't like that at all. So why? I don't know. I guess I was weak and scared. I'm not as strong as you. Are you going to divorce me? I don't want a divorce. I really do not know. I get goosebumps when I'm near you. The pain of betrayal is too strong. Can I at least hug you? Opening my arms, Jeanette wasted no time in crushing my ribs. Her sobs continued for several minutes before our embrace was broken. Good night, Jeanette. See you tomorrow. Good night, Dale. I love you. This was the first time I had to deal with betrayal. If I had gone through this once or twice in high school or college, I would have learned that there is a tomorrow. Right now, I wasn't sure. I just couldn't figure out how supposed love gave way to lust. For the next few weeks, we lived in a cul-de-sac. It's a pity that I don't have Tatiana's phone number. Is she really divorcing Steve? If so, will she leave? Have you talked to Tatiana? Not since she burst into my room on Monday morning. I will never contact her again. She wasn't very kind. Her tongue was very rough. She praised you for being a gentleman and her hero. She told me that you know everything. That's why I cried when you showed up. Did you tell your parents? Fred immediately suspected something. Not really. I hoped we could get through this. The way things are going, that's unlikely, isn't it? I thought our flame was hot, but you put it out. I just don't feel right around you. Something inside me died. Let's see how next month will go, and then I'll decide. Jeanette's eyes sparkled with tears. My soul was dead. I didn't feel anything. More 4 weeks, and I was still emotionally dead next to Jeanette. Jeanette, where are we? Can you give me one reason why we shouldn't break up? Because you are abandoning us. I did something I will always regret, but it wasn't planned. It just happened. I call it bullshit. Nothing happens just like that. It happened because you wanted it. Jeanette was very irritated. Not true. Damn it. As far as I know, you and Tatiana were together, as calmly as possible. So what game do you want to play? Fine. How long have you been lovers? I bet it was great meeting Steve again, wasn't it? This may have been Steve's first time, but I wonder how many others there have been. Jeanette pulled her knees to her chest and curled into a ball. Each of my accusations was like a slap in the face for her. Did you use our bedroom or just motels? No matter what you did, you managed to keep me in the dark. Here you go. Are you happy now? Sorry, Dale. I shouldn't have said that. No others. There have never been others. It was just a terrible decision on my part, and only when we were trapped. Please, can't we try to move past this? One thing I can tell you for sure, Jeanette, you just sealed our fate. I wanted a woman strong enough to resist. Now I know that you will always think of me as a fraud, and I'll always have to deal with the question of whether you found another set of circumstances that cause you to cheat again. I'm too young for this kind of life. I'm filing for divorce. Oh my God, no! Oh! Please, Dale. I don't want to lose you. Jeanette, I have to move on. My skin no longer breaks out in goosebumps when I'm around you. The only feeling that remains is pain. You couldn't drive the knife deeper into my heart. I am going to instruct my lawyer to file a petition for divorce. You will be served here. There is no need to make this public. Jeanette's eyes were wet, and her voice cracked. I'm really afraid. I won't dispute this. What will happen to our house? I think we need to sell it. I don't want it, and I doubt you can afford it. With a muffled answer. Okay. 2 days later, Jeanette was served at home. This was fair, since we didn't have much to share. I will have to pay a nominal amount of child support for 2 years. Since this was uncontested, the divorce was granted in less than 90 days. Jeanette tried her best to get me to soften, but I couldn't, and maybe I didn't want to. I moved out shortly after submitting my documents. As predicted, since Jeanette couldn't afford the mortgage, the house was sold, and what little was left was divided in half. First, Jeanette went to her parents. She moved a few months later, but I don't know where she moved. When I think about her, I get angry and sad again. Taking revenge on Steve was tempting, but it wasn't worth it. If I have Haskell, then I will avoid me, since I can change your opinion about revenge. While the divorce process was going on, some of my longtime friends did everything they could to set me up with available ladies. Although I went on a few dates, I was emotionally dead. The thought of starting a relationship landed with a thud. Is this something I have to look forward to? 5 months have passed since the avalanche. After attending several by-invitation-only job fairs, I received 2 very attractive offers. I loved my current job, but it really couldn't compete with these offers. They told me this when I shared my suggestions with them. I got a position on the West Coast, near Palo Alto. My things fit comfortably in the car. My new apartment was no more lonely than the previous one. And that wasn't any better either. I needed a personal life that included women. I no longer knew what I wanted from life. On one of these evenings, I remembered all those text messages that I had composed. Reading them warmed my soul. Telling those you love how much they mean to you was uplifting. I decided that I had to start living the life of a single person. I felt like I was spying or reading someone's diary. One by one, I read the texts that Tatiana composed. She was much more talented in her creativity. When I read her letter to my mother, my heart began to beat wildly. I may not have married the man of my dreams, but at least I will die in his arms. Jeanette is so lucky. I had to find a way to contact Tatiana. Jeanette's phone number no longer worked. I decided that it would be cruel to ask her to do this anyway. Remembering conversations with Tatiana while waiting for our rescue, I thought that I knew what city their parents lived in. One of the photo albums I picked up had photos of our wedding along with a newsletter. This gave me Tatiana's maiden name. It didn't take long to find the parents. I left a message to her mother to call me. Dale? Tatiana, is this really you? How are you? Oh, Dale, I'm so glad you called. I missed you so much. I'm great. What's going on in your world? I got my master's degree and got a job on the West Coast. I've only been here for a month. Is Jeanette with you? No, I just couldn't get past it. We have been divorced for several months now. What about you? Still with Steve? No, same as you. We lived together for a couple of months, but it was too hard for me. God, I'm so glad you called. What led to this? Last week, I was throwing another pity party for myself, and I found those lyrics that we wrote when we thought about my life. After reading them, I felt better. Wow, I completely forgot about them. Oh, I bet you've read mine too. The man of your dreams, right? I never knew. She was my best friend. Best friends never let such things be known. So where are you now? In Chicago. You said on the West Coast. Where? In Palo Alto. We have an office in San Jose. How close is it? Palo Alto is about 20 miles from San Jose, the airport I usually use. Maybe I can convince the boss to let me visit this office. Or maybe I should think about visiting the Windy City. Really, Dale? It would be so nice to see you. I won't do anything this weekend. I know well where the airport is, so I can pick you up. How about we check the flights for Friday evening? Can you find me a place to stay? Yeah. Let me work on that. Well, you know, I didn't want any problems with your guys. I'll deal with them. Are you sure your girlfriends will let you go? Just like you, I will deal with them. If things get worse, I'll bring a few with me. Great idea. They can entertain my boys while you and I play checkers. I like your sense of humor, Tatiana. And that's just one of the many things I love about you, Dale. We talked for more than 90 minutes. It was so nice to hear her voice again. So many good memories came flooding back. It was all I could do to not think about Jeanette, but I managed. On Friday, I went to work early and left around 11 a.m. Arriving in Chicago, I sent Tatiana a message that I was heading to a passenger pickup truck. Dale, here! I picked Tatiana up and spun her around as we hugged. I received the warmest kiss this year. Glad you were able to come. Hungry? Yes, I guess I need to eat. Take me to your favorite place. Let's go. Do you want to get behind the wheel? Not really. You can take the driver's seat just in case you need to relieve yourself. Giggling. Can you believe what we had to do? I remembered this test so many times. It was something. After a wonderful dinner at the Texas Roadhouse, Tatiana drove back to the highway. My heart slowed a little as she pulled into the Holiday Inn parking lot. Usually, my out-of-town guests stay here. I have other plans for you, she said with a sparkle in her eyes. It won't hurt, right? Only if you resist. I'm not going to give up. As soon as we found ourselves in Tatiana's apartment, she threw herself into my arms. Kiss me. Slow kisses gave way to intense ones. My hands wandered, but much slower than Tatiana's. We slowly helped each other undress. Tatiana pulled my head to her chest. I didn't need any further instructions. We had a lot of sex that night. At first, everything happened quickly. We didn't have partners for a long time. The first round was followed by the second and third. We couldn't get enough of each other, giving each other pleasure. We fell asleep satisfied, and after a little rest, we loved each other again. I heard the sound of the shower running as the sunlight warmed my face. Standing naked and drying her hair with a towel, Tatiana greeted me. Good morning, my love. Did you enjoy it last night? Was it a dream or reality? I had both. You lasted much longer in my dreams. I stuck my tongue out at her. Get your ass out of bed. We have a whole day ahead of us. It was a wonderful weekend. I must have reached the finish line 10 times. On Sunday evening, we parted, having previously agreed that Tatiana would fly to San Jose in 2 weeks. When my turn to have fun came to an end, I realized that I was falling in love with Tatiana. Her face when we parted told me that she might be experiencing the same feelings. I received confirmation in the middle of the week. Good evening, Tatiana. How is work going this week? Very good, Dale. That's why I'm calling you. They have an opening in their San Jose office. I checked and qualified. I have strong feelings for you, but if you don't feel the same, then I'll back off. And if I say, I think I'm falling in love with you, will it help you make a decision? Yes, yes, yes. Yes. This will help, or yes. Will you still think about changing jobs? Smart ass. Yes, I love you and I'm going to take this job. We talked for hours. I was tasked with finding a suitable apartment for us within a reasonable distance from her office, airport, and my office. As soon as she was approved for this position, her suitcases were packed. It's only been 6 weeks since she called me back. Sometimes life moves at the speed of an avalanche. We were in no hurry. We both had deep-rooted relationship anxiety issues. Although we had a few screams, we always managed to kiss and cuddle before bed. I work with a lot of young women, and this worries Tatiana. She travels with men, and it bothers me. It was during one of our conversations 10 months after we started living together that we came to an understanding. I'm very sorry, Tatiana. I acted like an ass. If you can keep your vows when circumstances force you to sleep with the man of your dreams, then I have nothing to worry about when you're on the road. I don't trust men, so please avoid situations that put you at risk. Listen to me, Dale. I was unfairly petty when I said you work with all these women. You proved to me in the avalanche that you can be trusted. I may not trust the women you work with, but I am convinced that I can trust you. We looked at each other in silence for a minute. Then I dropped to one knee. I don't have a ring or anything because it happened pretty quickly, but would you like to die in this person's arms or in your dreams? Pushing me back onto my back, then pressing his chest against me. Will I die quickly or what's on your mind? A very slow death, 50 or 60 years of torment. Sign me up for the company. MW enjoyed a small wedding ceremony in San Jose, and then a honeymoon as far away from the snow as possible. We never skied again, and we have no desire to. Our careers became our children, but 8 years later we expanded our family when Sarah was born. She looks like her mother. Her sister Maggie came along 2 years later, and it will be a little more difficult for her, as she is very similar to me. We learned through social media that Steve had remarried and fathered a child. We also learned that Jeanette moved to Maryland and has 2 children. Neither Steve nor Jeanette attempted to contact us, nor did we contact them. This relationship was buried under an avalanche. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.